Malik. Hello, beautiful people. Bush League Huddle podcast, fantasy football. How are you? In the house, bringing you your recap for Week 3 NFL Sunday action. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us on this fine fall evening. I don't know about you guys, but it smells like pumpkin spice lattes. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm your host, Fabio, and I am joined with my two co-hosts. Two people that I would not want to be stranded on a desert island with unless they're wearing Speedos. Roger and Nacc. What's up, guys? How are you doing? How you doing? How you doing? You read the
little
intro.
weirded out, but
I did, yeah. Speaking of pumpkin spice lattes, I already saw a pumpkin on someone's doorstep. Like we just went from summer. We just went from summer to fall right away. Like, and I'm not ready for it.
The Christmas decorations are up at Costco right
this
now.
Is the that's the equivalent of Guido starting Christmas decorations November 1st. Is the pumpkin on the first day of fall.
Which I'm okay with.
You're just excited, man. You're just excited. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. Marché de l'Ouest has all kinds of pumpkins out already, so 'tis the season, man. 'Tis the season. Fab, can I have a quick question for you?
Yeah.
Why would we be wearing Speedos on a deserted island?
Why wouldn't you be wearing Speedos? Guys,
would you like us to?
It seems like it.
Why not? What's wrong with that? We have, guys, we have not one, but two Monday Night Football matchups this evening. The Bills versus the Jags and the Bengals versus the Redskins. Sorry, Commanders, pardon me. NFL is already spoiling us so quickly into the new season. Like past episodes this week, I think we're going to be breaking down this Sunday's games, highlighting the winners, pooping on some losers, and giving you beautiful people the rundown on all the latest injury news and updates. But before we begin, please, please, please make sure you hit that follow button on all of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. We post daily, guys. We post daily. Several times a day. It's fun stuff. Please subscribe, please follow, please listen, download, all that fun stuff. And also, we do want to highlight quickly the Survivor update, where everyone took a beating again. And in our league, in our Survivor pool, I think there's down to 9 surviving entries after week 3 through week 3. So potentially,
there's still some on Monday night.
Yeah. There's still the Bengals, and some people took the Bengals, some people took the Bills. TBD on how that's going to turn out, but there is 2 individuals, the Colts, who picked the Colts and the Seahawks, so they're through to next week, and they might potentially be the winner as well when everything is all said and done, when this week is over, because it's just been brutal.
Chase Daniels is, or Jamar Chase is going to eat tonight, boys.
Jamar Chase is going to eat tonight. Is he supposed to eat tonight? Oh, someone just scored a touchdown.
Chase Daniel? Nice. That's
Jamar
a deep
Chase.
cut, though.
Jamar
said Chase Daniel.
Chase. I did. I started with Chase Daniel. I don't know why I said Chase Daniel.
But Jamar Chase just scored a touchdown. He just 41-yard touchdown.
Bomb. Yeah,
Look
he's
at
going to
that
eat tonight.
I just need Tyler Bass to kick like a bunch of field goals, and I'll be happy. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Kickers are people too, guys. Kickers are people too. But we're gonna just recap the winners and losers of week 1. Go over the guys that grabbed everyone's attention. There were a lot of winners, a lot of losers, but we're each going to go over a few of them right now. I want to start off with you, Roger. Who's your winner for the week?
My first winner, Fab, is Kyren Williams. No Puka and no Cup. Absolutely no problem. 89 rushing yards, 3 total TDs, 0 punt returns, which is good. I know that freaked people out a little bit before the season started, but no punt returns, and 0 carries from Blake Corum. He had 31.6 fantasy points.
I don't think he had a snap.
He didn't have a snap either, yeah. And I think the key for the Rams was that they started the first 2 games in 3 wide receiver sets, and then game 3 against the Niners, they realized, well, we don't have Puka, we don't have Cooper Kupp, so they actually ended up putting their team in 2 tight end sets, and I think they're going to establish the run more with him. And they had more of a balanced offense. So I think this bodes well for Kyren Williams' prospects for the next few games, while at least Cooper Kupp is out. So I think he was a big winner coming out of that game. And it was a nice comeback from the Rams too.
I think I read somewhere he's only returned, I think, or been out there for 5 punts all year. Like, he hasn't really, the report came out and scared everyone. Like, I think he's been there 5 times all
Didn't he
year.
do that last year too? Didn't he return?
He returned punts in the
started,
beginning. Yeah. But even that's what I was telling people when everyone was all concerned about Karen Williams, and I was like, I was fine with it because that just means he was dropping and going to be a lot better value later on. Which Nick got him super late in our draft. But that year that Cup won the Triple Crown in all the wide receiving stats, he was returning punts too. Like, it's not that big of an issue, and it's not going to be that he returns up like 5 or 6 punts every single game. It was like the Rams punted 27 times last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want my running back returning really punts personally.
I think it was really overblown. I'm not a fan of it either, but when you talk about 2 punts and one of them is going to be a fair catch, okay. So, I just think it was really overblown that people went a little bit too crazy on that. But I'm really happy that Kyron went off, man. Like, it's good to see. It's nice that the Rams pulled out of that win too. Nacc, who's your winner for the week?
One of my winners this week, a guy I had totally wrong so far the year. He's been getting better and better as the weeks progress. It's Derrick Henry. But I feel like they actually used him properly for the first week. They actually ran the ball. I think he had 22 or 25 carries. So for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 30 points, Ravens finally get their first win. So seems like they got their recipe for success is, feed Henry the ball. I know there was a report that came out, what was it, last week or after the first week? They didn't sign Henry to have him carry the ball 30 times a game. Well, he came pretty close this game and he looked pretty good doing it. He's one of those running backs that it's weird. The more carries you get, the better he is throughout the game. He's been like that his whole career. I was I had like kind of a negative cloud towards him. I really thought that this year was going to be the year of decline. And look, I guess we still have to go through the whole year to see it, but he's gotten better game in and game out this year. And I think he was a winner this week for sure.
And every week he's gotten more and more carries too. Like week 1, he had 13 carries. Week 2 had 18. This week now he had 25. Yeah. So you can just see that the guy just needs more volume, and he's going to continue to put up those big fantasy points. And he has a nice matchup next week against Buffalo, giving up the second most amount of fantasy points to running back. So that's going to be another nice. He might come back on our winners list next week too. So that's great. I got a guy that went freaking nuclear, man. I got JaJuan Jennings. It was not a day for Brandon Aiyuk. And if you were facing JaJuan Jennings by some miracle that the guy just picked him up and started him in the last minute, then I feel sorry for you because that guy went absolutely nuts. 11 receptions on 12 targets, $175 and 3 touchdowns, 46.5 points. I mean, he looked good. It wasn't as if it was just like a fluke. Like, he was making a lot of contested catches. He was making nice cuts. He was running good routes. I don't know what this means for Brandon Aiyuk. I don't know if it's just a 1 week thing, but this guy is going to have to come off of waivers real quick. And all of Brock Purdy's points came, like all of his touchdowns came from JaJuan Jennings, which is great.
Yeah, and the catches were like they were of the contested catch variety. Nothing like super wide open and run after catch. No. He was like jumping and going after it and dunking on dudes. So it was really cool to see.
Yeah,
seems strange too how they gave Aiyuk all that money, and then you have a guy like JaJuan Jennings just balling out and reaping the benefits of it. It's very weird, very weird. I think the Steelers dodged a bullet on that one.
I mean, I don't know if the Rams took Aiyuk out of the game completely, but I feel like Brock was just really targeting JaJuan. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the stats in front of me. I think Aiyuk also had like around 10, 11 targets. So it's not as if it was a one really lopsided, but
I think he's having trouble getting open for real. Like, I really think he's having trouble. Keon Coleman sighting, boys.
Oh, he's alive.
He's alive and in the end zone.
Wonderful. Oh, look at that. That was your love. Beautiful.
That was my love.
Beautiful. And I get a point after attempt, right? Yes.
Unless they go for 2, which they should because they have 19.
Yeah, they likely will probably go for 2 here.
No, they got the one. They got the one. Thank you. I'm not much closer, Robbie. Thank you. Raj, what else you got as a winner this week?
I have wide receiver for the Bears, Rome Odunze, 23.4 fantasy points, 11 targets, 6 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Beautiful 45-yard catch in the second quarter. He had a ridiculous average depth of target of 22 yards. And I feel like he looked healthy for the first time since that week 1 knee injury scare where A lot of people were wondering why he wasn't sitting down. He looked really good. He was beating man coverage. So I'm happy to see he had a really, really good game. And I think the chemistry is starting to build with Caleb. I know it hasn't been super clean for Caleb yet, but I feel like, between week 1, week 2, and week 3, he's consistently gotten better. And I think he's going to keep getting better. And he looks to be the favorite target for Odunze looks to be the favorite target for Caleb. So he gets the Rams, Panthers, Jaguars, and Commanders in the next 4 games. So I think this is a big opportunity for Odunze to potentially even keep the momentum that he's been going right now.
It only makes sense that he does end up being Williams' favorite target, like just going forward indefinitely. Like you would want to be able to create and force that chemistry to happen, because you would figure for the next 3 to 4 years, these are going to be your guys. Like if you're a Bears fan or if Bears owner, like these are going to be your guys like indefinitely, right? Like these guys are going to be the staple of the offense going forward.
Yeah, it feels like Caleb is getting more comfortable with the deep stuff, which favors Odunze, and the underneath stuff, which favors DJ Moore, he's having an issue with. I know DJ Moore had a statistically good game. I think it was 8 for 78, but he had that really fluky 44-yard Hail Mary at the end of the half.
Yeah, at the end of the first half.
Super fluky. So if you take that out, like DJ Moore didn't have that great of a game with Caleb. So it'll be interesting to see Cole Kmet. I know we might talk about it later, but Cole Kmet also had a really good game. So we'll see. Good news for Odunze, though.
The underneath stuff might actually be going to Cole Kmet instead of DJ Moore. Now that you just mentioned it, but it's a very good point. Nacc, who's your other winner for the week?
The Carolina Panthers offense, boys. The return of the Red Rocket. Andy Dalton lives. That was some performance by them. If I'm Bryce Young, man, oh man, is my confidence shot? Am I going underneath a rock and like just totally hiding? Maybe like literally asking for a trade, because unless Dalton screws up, like there's no chance. And Canales came out and said today that Andy Dalton gives us the best shot of winning. So he's going to keep playing. Like that's huge statement from your coach. And for a second-year quarterback, that's not something you want to hear. Chuba Hubbard, had 114 yards rushing, 5 receptions, 55 yards, touchdown, 28 points, fantasy points. Deontay Johnson had that was his career high in receiving yards, 122 yards and a touchdown. And what was funny is you notice when he caught that touchdown, that was a beautifully thrown ball over the shoulder in the end zone. He caught the ball and his celebration was like weight lifting off his shoulders. Like, wow, look at that! Like, finally a nice throw to me where I can, make up. You saw like the relief.
He's been QB purgatory for the past 2 years.
Yeah. You literally saw the relief in his face. He was just ecstatic he did something similar with Rudolph last year when Rudolph took over. He was kind of like, he had that like, oh my God, like it's about time I have finally someone throwing me the ball. So so he had 8 receptions on 12 targets, 122 yards and a touchdown for 26 points. So those Deontay Johnson drafters are pretty happy upon return this week for sure.
Yeah,
I feel really bad
for 3 weeks.
I feel really bad for Bryce. Apparently his girl left him too this week. It's been a really tough week for him, man.
Oh, I know. Sleeping on all those millions must be tough.
Andy Dalton's first game this season is also the only game so far where a quarterback has thrown 3 touchdowns and thrown for over 300 yards. Like that's you got like I'm happy for him. I really am. I
heard a good stat is that or like more of a tidbit. Defenses are now set up to guard against QBs who are more athletic and against the run, and make sure that you've got all that stuff covered. That when guys like Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco come in, like old school pocket passers, like these defense have trouble with that. Like Joe Flacco came in last year and started carving up defenses. Andy Dalton comes in this year and look what he did to the Raiders. So I don't know, maybe there's something to be said about that.
Well, Sam Darnold too, right? He's having a fantastic season, and even the last game he had 4 touchdowns. Like he's not exactly super mobile, so that's a very good point. It could be something to look forward to as well. I mean, how defenses now are looking for more of those mobile quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson, who's just tearing it up at the moment. Wait, sorry, pause. That's a loser segment. No, sorry about that. My last winner for the week is Malik. Will you be my neighbors? Ladies and gentlemen, he wears number 1. He's number 1 in your hearts. He's also the number 1 fantasy wide receiver right now. He went 8 for 78 for another 2 touchdowns. The kid's a star. Like, obviously I'm biased, if you couldn't tell by the shirt I'm wearing, but like, he's the acrobatic catch. Like, he took the ball away from the DB there, just snagged it and toe tap in the end zone. Like, he's a stud. 28 points, and like, you just feel like it's exciting now to see that guy play. But in general, because I know even Marv Harrison got into the end zone too this week, and Adunes had a great game. It's nice to see the top 3 wide receivers that we've been talking about all off season are showing up and showing out. So that's really cool. So I thought that was a really big, another big game by the kid, and just figure, like, as from a target perspective, he's going to be pushing like 180 targets this year.
I think was it Puka Nacua that had the rookie record for targets last year? Apparently, he's on pace to break that. His neighbors,
I think he's on pace to shatter it.
Like 210 targets. It's
nuts. 210, Puka?
No,
I think it's what neighbors is on pace for is 210.
Yeah, it's 210 or 212 is what I saw as well.
Did Lawrence just throw a pick? It looks like he did. Yeah, he did.
To DeMar Hamlin, let it be known.
Good for him. So yeah, those are our winners and losers. Actually, no, sir. Those are our winners for the week. Now we're going to get into the loser section. So these are the guys that, based off of our expectations, or just in general, even coaches and teams, and just how they performed. Didn't perform all that well this year. Raj, who do you have this week as a loser?
Yeah, I'm going to take a different angle on it. I'm going to put the holdout wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Aiyuk, and Jamar Chase, notwithstanding the TD that he just scored, the 42-yarder he just scored in Monday Night Football. I'm going to add him as well. Lamb is averaging 13.8 fantasy points per game. Aiyuk is at 7.6 fantasy points per game on average. And Chase, again, before this touchdown, he's at 9.8 fantasy points per game. So we drafted these guys way higher than... we drafted them thinking they would provide way more upside than what they've been providing. Lamb and Chase, in their case, is at least round 1 value, and Aiyuk probably round 2 value. I have Lamb in our Bush League, obviously, and I draft him 2nd overall, and just drops every game. He had a key fumble yesterday. He was throwing tantrums on the sideline because he didn't get enough targets. Aiyuk just drops every single game. There's at least one drop that's like, dude, like, this is what you complained about for? Like, if I'm the Niners so far, it's like you're thinking it's buyer's remorse even though it's early, right? And Chase has just looked completely off with Burrow. So I don't know what it is. I think it's something to look into next year. I don't really buy hey, it's a slow start. Like, all these guys have continuity. They're not in new offenses. Yep. They've worked with these coaches. They know these quarterbacks. So to me, it's something off and something to look forward to next year. But if you're someone who drafted any one of these 3, not really happy about that aspect so far.
The Lamb outbreak on the sideline is concerning to me. Like, you never want to see your wide receivers like blow their top off on the sideline, and like, obviously we all know that wide receivers are divas. We get it, but like, whenever that
especially
happens,
ones that wear 88,
right? Thank you for saying that.
He had. Did you see that he has like earrings for his dreads? He's got like accessories in his dreads. Did you see that when he took off his helmet? He's got literally accessories in his dreads, like they're earrings, but for his hair. I found that strange.
I mean,
that's the youth these days.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know where that leads, but I mean, I just think overall, compared to other podcasts, we talk very little about the Cowboys, which I'm very thankful for. But man, oh man,
there's not much to talk about.
Does not look good at all. Stale offense.
No.
Dude,
no running back game.
The Thursday game against the Giants, like, it's not an assumption that the Giants are going to lose that game. I think that's a must-win game for the Cowboys if they want to have any chance of being relevant in the division. To be honest with you,
and honestly, you mentioned Chase. He's playing Washington tonight. Washington has the worst secondary in the league, bar none. So maybe it's a get right game for Chase, but I'm not gonna hold my breath after only 1 week against the Washington Redskins. Commanders.
Whoa. I don't.
I appreciate that callback.
I do this every time.
Appreciate that.
It's your kryptonite. What's mine is Sam Darnold and Sam Bradford. Confusing the Chargers and the Rams all the time because they have the same colors and they're looking
and FAABs. Well, the list is very long.
Mine is Ben Canales. Dan Canales. What's his name?
Andre Yoshivayev.
Who's your loser for the week?
Oh, one of my losers. I'm gonna say it's not gonna be a player. It's gonna be a coach. It's Antonio Pierce. I've really, really not liked what I've seen from him so far. 3 games in, I think for fans, the novelty has worn off since he took over last year for what's his name? Josh McDaniels. Exactly. Yeah. I think that the novelty has really worn off. He's making questionable decisions on the field. I feel like he just doesn't know how to manage the team. I heard him tell reporters today that he was going to talk to the team before making a decision on Minshew and O'Connell, and I'm just like, dude, are you the coach, or is it like by association? Is it the UN on your team? Like, I know you want to. Yeah. There's being a player's coach, like let's say a Mike Tomlin is, but Tomlin doesn't go to people for decisions. He makes his own decisions, good or bad, and sticks with them. You're not going to go ask Max Crosby, should I start Minshew or O'Donnell? Like, you're not going to go ask Devontae Adams, like, dude, you're the coach. Do the coach. Be a coach. You know, he's punting from inside his own 50, not trusting his players 4th and 3 late in games. Like, it's just very, very bizarre. And I think that team is going in the complete opposite direction and looks really, really horrifying right now. And as a fan, if I would be a fan of Vegas, I'd be really disappointed and just be, I'd be scared to know where this is going. I still believe Devontae Adams gets traded before the deadline. I think he wants out. His sake. It was another. Honestly. He looked pretty sad on the sidelines once again. Yeah,
like you have to figure out what it's doing to him. Like I don't know if you guys caught the receiver show on Netflix, right? But he was visibly upset at certain points, and you kind of have to figure it's going to continue in this season too, right? So that's a very good point. Yeah, you kind of wonder what's going on in Las Vegas, and I feel like that organization is always going to be cursed to a degree. Even when they hired Josh McDaniels. Like I never understood that hiring. I never liked him as a coach. I thought Antonio Pierce would at least get the guys on his side, and he did for the most part last year, but it looks like that's starting to implode a little bit.
Being a culture guy only takes you so far. I think it's a great, it was great for when they were replacing someone with such a low bar in McDaniels. But now when you're entering a new season, it's like, okay, what can you do schematically? Yeah. What can you do to elevate your players? And not really seeing right now either. I agree with Nacc.
I think it was the right choice at the end of last season when they fired McDaniels, but then the beginning of the season they should have hired a brand new coach, brand new scheme, the whole thing, right? So I think that's somewhere they dropped.
I don't know about going that far as hiring. Like the decision was made to bring him in as coach, and I'm okay with that. But what I've seen through 3 games, it's like it's not the same Antonio Pierce we saw last year. I feel like it's just not that same guy, and like I just find it strange. Wouldn't you want to make your mark as a coach? Wouldn't you want to be aggressive?
Yes.
You have a good defense. You have like some good pieces around you. Like Minshew could technically still sling it, and it's just I don't know, man. Something's really not clicking, and I think to Roger's point, he's just having a hard time motivating these guys, and it's not going to end well.
No, doesn't look like it. My same theme, my losers, because I'm going on a theme of big name tight ends. Some guys that you probably drafted very high in the fantasy football drafts that didn't really perform, and in some cases have not been performing since the beginning of the season. So Isaiah Likely, after that first game, he's been putting up about 2 duds in a row now. Mark Andrews 2. Nacc, what was the stat that you said? How many routes did they run?
Not routes. They each had 1 target.
Yeah.
1 target. I think Likely had 1 catch for 4 yards. And Andrews did not have a catch.
Yeah, so that's obviously not what you want your premier tight ends to be getting. Travis Kelce, 7 fantasy points, averaging 5 points per game this season in just 3 games. He looks slow. He's off to a slow start. He looks out of shape.
He looks sad too on the sideline.
Yeah, that horrible mustache and bad haircut. That's a different story. Laporta too hasn't really been performing as expected. I know he got injured this game, but in general, within the season, I feel like the resurgence of Jameson Williams has cut into his target share quite a bit. Kyle Pitts. Yeah, we're just going to move on. And Trey McBride had a bit of an off game.
Pitts has been tight end 8, actually. I hate to say it, but he's actually, and I think his
tight
ADP
end position as a whole has been bad.
And we were talking about how deep it was in the beginning of the offseason, right?
Like Evan Ingram hasn't even played.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews hasn't really been on the field. I mean, likely it was because of that one play or one game that everyone went crazy. Who else hasn't really shown up?
McBride had a nice game last week, but overall he's probably not putting up the numbers you expect him to do.
Sighting.
Actually, guys, Cole Kmet is tight end 3, and his first 2 games he was 1 catch 4 yard.
Yeah,
4 catches,
that's what I'm saying.
47 yards, and then 10 catches, 97 yards.
I think Dallas Goedert is tight end 1, right? After this week?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
He went nuclear for 10 catches, 107 yards.
100% he's tight end 1 right now.
Yeah. Even
Tyler Conklin, just how everyone drew it up.
Yeah, even Tyler Conklin on a nice game. Anyway, so the big name tight ends have come with a lot of disappointment. So those are my losers for the week. Raj, who you have somebody else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I have Justin Herbert as my second loser this week, and kind of he's been a loser pretty much the entire season. Obviously, we all love Justin Herbert, likely top 5, top 7 QB, but he's only averaging 10 fantasy points per game. He has not attempted over 30 passes in a game all season. He's literally been injured all season, whether it was the plantar fasciitis early on in training camp, and now it's the ankle that he injured last week. Looks like he re-injured it again Sunday against the Steelers. Nacc, congrats. That was an amazing performance. The defense looked fantastic. So
yeah,
congrats to you. I know that was a interesting game in terms of 2 old school head coaches, but I think the lack of receiving threat and just the fact that they run the ball so much, to me, it makes him like a QB2 at best in Superflex and 2 QB leagues. Like, I don't know how you could trust him as a QB1 right now in 1 QB leagues.
You can't. You literally can't, and it looks like he's going to miss a couple games now, anyways. So you're gonna have to do something else. But I think you alluded to it at the beginning of the year. They're a running team, and they're gonna be a running team. I didn't like Herbert. He wasn't the sexy draft pick for me because of that. Because knowing Harbaugh was going to run the rock, and then finding early success running the football just left Herbert kind of in the background, trying not to make the bonehead plays and just kind of manage the offense. So he's not been great to start the season. I agree.
That doesn't surprise me either. And he got injured too, right? So we're gonna have to see how that rolls out for next week. Nacc, who do you have as your second loser?
I think it's going to be the Bears running backs as a whole. I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think they know who the lead back is or who they want to be the lead back. Like last year, they had Roshan Johnson, who they had drafted a couple years back, and he was supposed to be like the guy, but hasn't really panned out. He's been injured. You've had Khalil Herbert, who's been there for a little while, thinking, he knows the offense. You thought he was going to lead, and then they made a strange acquisition this offseason and went after Swift, right? It was kind of it was just kind of weird acquisition. I think we've talked about this, but 28 carries on Sunday for 63 yards, 2.3 yards per carry, no touchdowns. I think for a fantasy perspective, you've got to stay away from this backfield at the moment until some kind of lead back emerges. I think it was Khalil Herbert who had the majority of the carries, if I'm not mistaken. If memory serves you well, it was 13 carries, but he had 2.1 yards per carry, 1.9 yards per carry.
It was Roshan.
It was Roshan. Okay.
It was Roshan. Yeah.
So it was 13 carries. And it really wasn't great. I think that's what it was. It was 2 yards per carry. And it's just, I think they're trying different things, but it's just, as a whole, I think that's a big loser of the week. And I think it's a backfield to definitely avoid for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the offensive coordinator Shane Waldron is doing over there, but like as a whole, that offense is just interesting. But I agree with you. Like as far as the running back situation is concerned, it's not really one I want to dive into right now. My loser for the week is Rachaad White. 6 carries, 17 yards. He got bailed out points-wise, but from his receptions, which is kind of what you expect him to get. So in the PPR league, he did get you those extra 7 points. But he's been conceding carries and work to Bucky Irving for a little while now. It's the second week in a row that he's under 10 fantasy points. So flex play at best. And if I'm not mistaken, like Todd Bowles even came out and said that, Bucky Irving has earned a role in that offense right now. So it's really something to look for in the future, because I know you probably drafted this guy to be your every week RB2, and he's going to be not putting up those numbers anymore. So I'd be worried. It's season long loser in my opinion right now. I'd be worried if I had him on my roster. And I know we really spoke about him pretty highly during the offseason, how he gets all the volume and all that stuff, but it doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Yeah, I think he's going to be dependent on game script. So if they're down, he's going to play more because he's a good pass catcher. But if they're up, I think we're going to see Bucky Irving more.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be talking about it a little bit too. But let's jump into our injury news. So those are our winners and losers of the week, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk quickly about some injury news that took place in week 3. And thankfully, this list is not 14 pages long. It's only about a few names on here, so it's going to be pretty quick to go over. We already talked about Sam Laporta. He had an ankle injury. He might miss a few games. We're projecting him to come back in week 6. QB Sam Darnold I think he got rolled up on one of the hits. They're not deemed to be serious. He should be playing next week. I think the MRIs came back as clean, but just keep an eye on that if Sam Darnold is on your roster, especially in a 2 QB league, because lately he's been playing lights out. QB Justin Herbert, he re-injured his ankle again, wasn't able to finish the game. So keep your eyes peeled on the news for Justin Herbert. But like we just mentioned before, even if he is playing, you're not exactly super excited to start him anyways. This one's a big one, I think. Devontae Smith. Already the Eagles are without A.J. Brown. They're also going to be without Devontae Smith. This does prop up Jahan Dotson potentially, as well as maybe Dallas Goedert. So keep an eye out for that. He was evaluated for concussion. He might miss some time, but just keep your eyes peeled for that. Trey McBride, another one that got a concussion this week too. This one kind of sucks. Adam Thielen, just right after he caught that touchdown, looks like he pulled a hamstring. I think I saw a news report on him right now. He's going to miss a few weeks. He's going to miss, I think, like 3 to 4 weeks or something like that.
It's too bad. He would have been a popular waiver ad for sure.
Yeah, it's too bad. Skylar Thompson has a rib injury. So I think when it rains, it pours, in Miami, especially when it comes to quarterback play. Sorry about that.
Not looking too good over there.
Nope, it's not. And just a little news blurb that we found out not too long ago, right before the pod started. Brock Purdy, considered day-to-day with some back soreness. Like, it's probably nothing to be concerned about, but I think it's something to take note of as well. But apart from that, though, these are only...
There's one last major one that popped up actually before recording was CMC going to Germany to see an Achilles specialist over there.
Yes.
So that definitely not good news. And I don't know, in my eyes, I don't think he plays at all this season.
I think from a fantasy perspective, you're right. I think in real NFL, he's probably going to play in the playoffs at some point, or play in those meaningful games at the end of the season if there are any. But from a fantasy perspective, I think CMC, you can probably start to look in a long-term play on where you're going to be able to replace that production, which it's hard to come by for sure. You hope you have Jordan Mason. You hope you've drafted a handcuff. And I know a lot of people did, but if you didn't right now and you're CMC owner and you're looking at that news, you're not excited.
For sure.
So like I said, that's the injury news. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, only 8 guys. Not that bad. Well, 9 if you count CMC. Let's go with 8 guys. So it's a lot better than the last 2 weeks put together. That's for sure. And we're going to dive right into FAAB. Some high expectations for some big waiver wire guys. So we're going to go over some individuals right now who are less than 50% owned on the waiver wire on a Yahoo basis. And we're going to go over each one quickly just to go over the ones that should be rostered, whether it be a 2 QB league or otherwise. And a big one right now at 31% owned is JaJuan Jennings. After the performance he just put up right now and all the injuries that San Francisco are dealing with, I mean, this is a guy that you're probably going to have to spend whatever FAAB money you have left on him. I mean, Nacc, right now, if you're looking at JaJuan Jennings on your waiver wire, he's there. He's able to pick him up. Like, how much are you going to spend on him? Like, probably 30%, I would think.
Yeah, look, it's going to depend on what kind of wide receiver help you actually need. These are not numbers that he's going to put on a week-to-week basis. Like, there's no way that these are the type of sustainable numbers he's going to have. Debo and Kittle will eventually be back, so just be weary of that. Aiyuk, I know we spoke about him, has not had a great start to the year, but he's still there. So it will start getting crowded in terms of targets when everyone is back and healthy. 30, I think, seems a little steep for me. I'm probably going to go along the lines of 15, 20%, depending on what your wide receiver room looks like.
Yeah, I think once more news comes out, you can start to probably discern how much percentage to put in. I do agree. Like, if find out that Kittle and Debo are going to miss more time, yeah, that number could easily go up. Yeah, Raj, what do you think?
If you have depth, I would pass on it. Like, if you just want to put like a 10%, like just to see if, like, you know, the people are sleeping in your league, sure. But so Kittle is out. Not sure how long he's out, but Debo, it says couple of weeks. It looks like it's a calf injury. You know, those soft tissue injuries are always tricky. But I don't know. I would be weary of spending like a 30%, and then you're gonna go see Aiyuk is back to his usual, you know, 2023 production. I'd be really annoyed if I spent 30%.
This has Isaiah Likely written all over it, I find.
Yeah.
This is where this is where my head goes. Guy goes off 1 week and everyone automatically goes and blows their fab. Like, again, if you really need help and you're really thin at wide receiver, you may not have a choice. He may be the best guy, and you're 0-2, you're 0-3.
Exactly.
You
I was
need
gonna say,
a
yeah.
win. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, okay, go out and do it. Yeah, 100%. I'd go and spend and make sure you get this guy, because in the short term, he's a very, very solid option. But just longer term, if you have depth at the position, like Raj said, there's no need to go spending 30% fab on a player that might not be in three wide receiver sets when we come, at a certain point of the year.
Fair point. What about our next guy, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Falcons? He put up back-to-back games over 14 points. Right now, he's about 26% owned. And looking at his targets, they've been going up every single week, like 5, 7, 8. Like, he's being used within that offense. Roger, would you put up a nice amount of fab, thinking that he might be more of a focal point going forward?
I feel you could get him for like 10 to 12%.
Yeah,
And
I think that's fair.
we forget Mooney was a 1,000-yard pass catcher back with the Bears, and he's looked good on deep passes. So I think 10 to 12% would be really.
Kirk is looking for him, which I think
exactly.
is very noteworthy, right? So it's very much an offense that he can spread the ball quite a bit. This obviously
he found a nice home. Mooney found a nice home, man.
Yeah,
this is like a perfect offense for him.
Yeah. It does eat into Drake London's target share, obviously, and probably Kyle Pitts too. But no, I agree with that. 12 to 15%. One guy that I think it should be owned in all leagues, Braelon Allen. Right now, he's still about 36% owned. He's still very much part of that offense too.
That's shocking.
Nacc, how much would you put if you was in your league to buy to
easily 20%? Maybe I depending again on your situation, I'd go probably as high as 25-30%. I wouldn't be shocked for that. If Breece Hall goes down, this guy is going to destroy. He is going to eat, my friends. There's no reason why he should not be owned in all formats right now, unless you're in an 8-team league with, I don't know. I can't even like put into words why it's so low, but guys, get this guy on your roster because he's one injury away from being a fantasy winner.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. It's really hard to argue with that. Like, I think, if you have to be spending fab on him, like 30% is a lot, but I think it makes sense. Roger, what do you think about that?
Yeah, we said 20% last week, and I think we're all in agreement. And
yeah,
you can't worry that Breece Hall is there. Breece Hall right now he's not even getting 20 carries a game. So there's more than enough timeshare, if you want to say it, for Allen and Breece Hall. And even if you don't want to worry about the handcuff aspect of, hey, if you just have him in case Breece Hall goes down again, he looks good out there. He's getting like double digit carries.
Listen, he could be a weekly flex play, regardless of Breece Hall's activity or not. Like you've seen that.
The last thing I'll say is Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust rookies often, right? And factor in, he pass protection. He has an Achilles injury. The fact that he's there and Aaron Rodgers there, and Aaron Rodgers wants him to play in important downs, I think is very telling.
Well, look, perfect example is Bucky Irving. How much more expensive would Bucky Irving be right now than 2 weeks ago when we said to pick him up, or last week when we said to pick him up?
Great segue, because he's still about 35% owned as well. And what we just talked about with Rachaad White really underperforming. Todd Bowles wants to get more carries over to Bucky Irving. Like that number is going to shoot up. Like he will not be on our list next week. Because
I hope he's not.
Yeah, after Todd Bowles' comment over here, like, no, he should definitely be shooting up. And he's been outperforming him every week since week 1. And this is a guy, if he's in your league right now, I think this is another guy that you would spend a lot of your FAAB on, because this is going to be a season-long play where you can get double-digit fantasy points every single week. And eventually, Rachaad White's going to turn into just an afterthought in that offense, potentially. Like on early down work, it's going to be Bucky Irving, and then fine, the PPR work might go to Rachaad White, but Bucky Irving will get the early down work, and he'll be the workhorse.
Buffalo scored 5 first-half touchdowns against the Jaguars. Is that not insane?
It's insane, especially when
4 touchdown passes in the first half.
When one went to Khalil Shakir. So, Robbie, congratulations on your win this week.
You won. But how bad are the Jaguars? Sorry, we're going on a thing, but the Jaguars look.
I'm so upset.
Awful.
I'm so upset. I put up 185 points this week. I'm so upset.
Yeah, we're all sad for you, Fab.
Bucky Irving, we're gonna hit on 2 more guys.
30%.
What's that?
Easily. Bucky Irving, 25-30% easily, I think. I think he's a flex right away as well.
Yeah. I don't see how you can't. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. We're going to hit on 2 guys as well that I think are noteworthy. Daniel Jones, back-to-back games with 20-plus fantasy points. He's currently owned at about 6% according to Yahoo, but this might not be reflective of a lot of 2QB or Superflex leagues, but all the same, if he's on your waiver wire, you should be picking him up. He should be rostered. I know Daniel Jones isn't exactly a very popular name at the moment, but when he puts up back-to-back games with 20-plus fantasy points, it's noteworthy. You saw, especially with Malik Neighbors right now, he's going off as well. That's a product of Daniel Jones actually getting the ball to some degree. So I think and he also has the upside with the rushing upside as well. So it's something to take note of. And also Aiden O'Connell. So he came in for Minshew and towards the very end of the game, and Antonio Pierce doesn't seem to be ruling out a QB change like we've mentioned before. He's going to poll his players by way of Google Sheets, and he's going to get back to.
Actually, I just got an update just now. Apparently, per source, they're not changing QBs. It'll be Minshew in week 4, but yeah. Something just popped up on my feed here. So
until those votes come back, I guess that's how it's going to be. So just keep an eye on. Anyways, AOC might be starting next week. AOC, the quarterback, not the congresswoman. We don't know what quarterback. We don't know what team she plays for. She's probably a Giants fan. She's from Brooklyn. So those are our waiver wires, and we're going to introduce a new segment, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for sticking around for this long. You got something new to talk about. Cut the cord. We're going to go over some guys that are more or less owned about 50% from the Yahoo League, that at this point in the season, in week 3, we feel comfortable that you can drop in more or less all leagues. We're going to go through them one by one quickly over here. Javonte Williams, he's currently averaging 7 fantasy points per game and losing work to Tyler Batty and Jaleel McLaughlin, even while the game script is in his favor. So if you have any other options out there or guys that you want to pick up, like some of the ones we just mentioned, it's probably you're in a good spot to cut the cord on that. Zamir White, this is a big one. We might have to have a conversation about this, but this is one you have to consider about either potentially cutting depending on the options that are out there. He's seeing a lot of work down, obviously, Alexander Madison.
Bad, guys.
He's averaging 4.9 fantasy points per game. Brutal run blocking offensive line. They have a late round draft pick in Dalen Laub. That's a healthy stretch again. Like, you have to think that they're going to activate him soon, and you figure that Zamir White might not be the guy anymore in that offense. What do you guys think about that, Raj? What are your points?
At the very least, if you're weary of dropping him, just don't start him until you see something out of it. I get it, because a lot of people probably drafted him thinking he'd be an RB2, but the offense looks off. The offense line is not good. The play calling stinks. I would drop him because you just remove the noise out of your team. You could just like kind of clean break, figure out what to do with your running back room on your team. But if you don't want to do that, just bench him at the very least for now.
Yeah, I don't think you go as far as cut. Definitely bench 100%. Like starting running backs are hard to find, so you don't want to maybe lose that all altogether depending on, if an injury pops up or whatever, at least you have a backup, but yeah, definitely benching him for the foreseeable future until I see
but
something.
it's going to be you're burning a roster that like I think his leash is very short. If he's on my team right now and I don't have that many bench options, his leash is very short. Like 1 or 2 more games and then he's going to be cut for sure. But
for sure, there's going to be some fantasy rosters where he's easily
sure.
cuttable just because you're like, I can't have this roster spot.
It's,
I'd rather, I'd rather go after a Braelon Allen or a Bucky Irving and leave them on the bench if anything, So I definitely agree with that.
Next guy, Jaylen Warren. He's averaging, again, about 4.45 points per game and only 1 point versus the Chargers on Sunday. And G. Harris really took over that backfield in the last few games.
Warren was hurt as well.
Jaylen was hurt as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's something to consider as well, but he might be listen, it might be time as well to cut the cord on Mr. Warren, seeing as G. Harris has been outperforming all the same. Next 2 guys I agree with 100% though. Tyler Johnson and DeMarcus Robinson. Listen, they are not necessarily the guys in that offense right now. No Cup, no Puka, and Tutu Atwell had a big game, as well as Jordan Whittington, who, shout out to our guest when we had him on to talk about the Rams. He mentioned Jordan Whittington. He knew about it from the very jump about the Breakfast Club. So if you're listening right now, big props for that. And he seems to be coming up really big with Jordan Whittington.
Nick.
Too. Yeah, cousin Nick, thank you very much. It is going to be a little bit impossible to predict who comes out of that wide receiver core. But at the same time, like, you might want to look for more better options, more better options, and just in general, because there might be some of the guys on the waiver wire that are going to look a lot more interesting than Tyler Johnson and or DeMarcus Robinson. Some quick hits over here.
I just want to add this because this one I'm a Puka Nacua owner and I put money on Tyler Johnson. And remember we were talking about.
Yes, so did I.
At one point, you just cut the cord, and even if you spent money on FAAB money on a player, and for me, Tyler Johnson, $7. It's been 2 weeks; it's not working out. Have depth. I don't want to have to worry. Like, do I start Johnson, Robinson? Do I have to pick up Whittington, Tutu Atwell? Cut the cord, move on.
Cut the cord and move on.
I agree 100%. I put money on DeMarcus Robinson actually, and I think I dropped him last week.
They were always going to be Band-Aids. That's the problem with these guys. Like you remember you had a good point last week, Raj. You said you don't necessarily want to pick up just a replacement. You want to pick up the talent. And I think like Tyler Johnson, Marcus Robinson, they're not talent, right? It's not really talent. It's really it was the Band-Aid.
They're journeymen. They're both journeymen.
They're journeyman guys, and we got suckered in by putting in FAAB because of an injury. Sometimes you just can't help it.
The next guy is keep an eye out for, depending on what his situation is with his rookie backup, especially if you're in a 2Q quarterback or super flex league. It's Jacoby Brissett. I think his days might be numbered, just how the offense is, just how that team is going right now. They might just turn over to Mayo at some point. Drake May at some point, and Mayo is already Gerard Mayo is already fielding questions about Drake May taking over. So I think it's only a matter of time. So just keep your eyes peeled. Another one, and this is. I had him on I drafted him in almost every single one of my leagues was Gus Edwards, and I've been dropping him pretty quickly.
I told you, man.
It's a J.K. Dobbins show. I did not invest a high draft round pick on him, but I know a lot of people had him already on his team, so it's something to.
And before we go all crazy on J.K. Dobbins, who did he play week 1, and who did he play week 2?
Very good run defenses. Like very, very good for running backs. I'm saying, like, not for fantasy purposes.
Bad run defense.
Yes, exactly.
He played. He went into the steel curtain on Sunday, and
oh boy,
here
we go.
And
hold on a second.
Here we go.
Hold on a second. The Pittsburgh defense is not indicative of a good or bad running back, in my opinion. They're a good defense, and they will stifle all good running backs. And that's just me being honest right now. So J.K. Dobbins,
I'm just saying,
up the Steelers having a bad game is not a concern for me.
On J.K. Dobbins, I think we just got to pump the brakes. That's all. Najee Harris had a pretty good game against
if J.K. Dobbins plays the Steelers 17
defense.
games a year, then yes, we can pump the brakes.
I don't know.
Is Najee Harris even averaging 4 yards a carry? Like, come on, bro.
Like,
come on, bro.
I'm saying he had a pretty good game against the second-ranked
defense.
I find Najee's playing well this year. He's not even averaging 4 yards a carry, dude. Come on.
He's going to hit 1,000 yards just because he's going to get like 400 carries.
Exactly.
No, he won't. He won't. They've been ceding a lot to Cordarrelle Patterson.
Oh, the
Arthur Smith special, you know?
Oh my God. Trey Benson is another guy I think we can talk about actually cutting the cord on. I don't think Connor's not going anywhere unless he gets injured, but even at that, I think it's we can move on from that. And another one after
Benson may be just a stash. Maybe just a stash in case, yeah.
Again, if you have the roster spot, I know he's getting picked up a lot in the last few weeks, but
no, they ride Cooper. It's just more of a guy. It's the same it's kind of almost similar to Blake Corum. Like he's on everyone's roster because if he gets injured, like Corum to the moon, right? But
yeah,
he's not even
Connor's
seeing
always
snaps
injured
right now.
I think it's a lot of those guys that were rostered because they were backups and you were thinking a good offense or in a good running offense. Now they're just burning a roster spot.
It's going to be tough, especially with some bye weeks. Some bye weeks coming up. It's going to be tough to keep these guys, especially with bell cow back.
Well, that's exactly it, right? I think you can start cutting the cord on Trey Benson and probably, like we mentioned about Blake Corum too, and Mr. 1 week wonder again, Hunter Henry.
This is the Hunter Henry special.
If you spent FAAB on him last week,
I'm not even sorry for you.
Yeah, like I mean, there was I was getting a lot of questions on TikTok about should I start him? Like, listen, he's pretty consistent, only having one good week every single season, and you might have missed it. So I don't know if you're going to want to start him again. And
no, he'll have his games, but he'll never go. It's rare he goes back to back, and if he goes back to back, he'll go 5 games without doing anything.
Yeah, so it's just something to think about as well. But I think that's it, guys. That's our Monday special over here. And I gotta go watch the rest of this Bills game with such less anticipation now that I'm losing to Robbie. Sucks. Robbie, if you're listening, and I really hope you are, because if you're not, then I don't think we should be friends anymore. I really congratulate you on this win. I really do. But not
guys, really. I'm 7 points from Nick right now. If this actually happens, I'm gonna have to give him a gift or something. I'm gonna have to get him something.
It was never over.
When McLaurin 0 points. I can't believe you started McLaurin.
Injuries ruin everything.
I guess I don't know. It's gonna be too little, too late. But man, I'm only 7 behind right now. I was 30.
You wouldn't be having this issue if you would have started Darnold instead of Richardson. My God, that's the last week this is gonna happen, eh?
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh well. She is what she is.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's our Monday episode, guys. Please download, please follow, subscribe, find us on social media, find us on TikTok, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. You're gonna see our faces. We got some nice emojis going on over there. You can't really miss us. They look just like how we look in real life. Except I might have less hair. But apart from that, though, like everything else is super legit. So I want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Fabio. That's Nacc. That's Roger. We're the Bush League Huddle podcast. Guys, we're going to see you all tomorrow and for the rest of the season. Peace out.
Cue that music, baby.
I've been waiting this whole time. I teed it up for you. And now I got to talk in the outro.
You didn't see the man.
Why? You're not a read, man.
Yeah,
you're not a read.
Come on, man.
I don't know.
Cue the music.
I gotta say cue the music. Cue the music, Roger. Cue the music.
Again?
Say cue the music when you. Oh, that I have it blocked, guys.
Oh,
I have it blocked.
Bye, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna go have
Peace
supper.
out, guys.
Peace out.